and give you Reverend Chris Gates. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Reverend Maya. Good morning, everyone. Everyone here in the sanctuary, all of you online. I've been here, I'm about halfway through my minister in residence already. And I gotta say, this is only the second rainy day, and it's still gonna sunshine today. It will clear up, but it's been just beautiful. And I thank you so much for your continued warm welcome, and getting to know each of you has really been a gift, and I'm so enjoying it, and I can't believe it's halfway through. Anyway, continuing on, the lighting of the candle for the indigenous traditions and culture. I came across an Oneida Thanksgiving prayer that I want to share with you. And it turns out I looked up the indigenous peoples of Montreal. And I have a lot to learn, clearly. But McGill University had a great webpage, even with the pronunciation of some of the words that I'm looking forward to learning. I don't know them well enough to share with you yet, but I will share that the indigenous people of the island of Montreal include the Iroquois, the Seneca, Tuscarora, and these are our words, these aren't their own words, right? Cayuga, Onondaga, and Oneida. And having lived in upstate New York for many years, these are very familiar names, and in fact, there are towns. There's a Cayuga and an Onondaga and an Oneida and a Seneca. There are towns, cities named after these in upstate. I'm just getting to know the traditions here. So one of the tribe, they were us. We return thanks to our mother, the earth, which sustains us. We return thanks to the rivers and streams. We return thanks to all the herbs and plants of the earth. We return thanks to the bushes and the trees, which provide us with fruit. We return thanks to the moon and the stars, which give us light when the sun has gone to rest. We return thanks for the world of spirits. We thank thee, our Creator, great mystery, great Spirit, that thou hast provided so many agencies for our good and happiness. Let's just take that home with us and hold that in our hearts. This is the Oneida Thanksgiving prayer from the people of the Standing Stone. So we've been working on our consciousness wheel, the wheel of consciousness from indigenous traditions. Many of them have medicine circles or medicine wheels, and we've been creating our own here for our own community based here in Montreal. So I wanted to continue that. I'm going to just open with a meditation. Today's talk is really about how unity and unity principles fits in with these more industrial practices. What shamanism is actually one of those practices, right? And we're all indigenous to the planet. So these are cultures that are beings. So as we continuing to deepen Wednesday classes, our own medicine wheel, I'd like you to join me now in re-experiencing the East that we did for ourselves. So I invite you to relax into your seat, hands. Let the seat, is everything okay, Gloria?
There's a message in the chat, and I don't know.
Oh, a message in the chat. Is anyone having problems with the video? You guys now? Okay, good. Thank you. gonna leave that chat window. Its hand. Okay. All right, let's relax. Let's take 3 breaths to just let go and move into the silence here. And it is very quiet here today. Our 3 deep breaths. And as we relax and move into the meditation, I invite you to imagine, sense, feel, hear, in whatever way is comfortable for you, the direction of the east. Direction of the east, representing spring. East returning. And fill the skies. This Hello, everybody. We've had some technical glitches here this morning. Let me turn on my sound. I will work from my phone. All right. Catherine, I can see you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, wonderful.
I can hear you.
Let me turn the volume up here.
Much better.
We've had some issues before the service today too, so I'm not sure what's going on. Just one of those days. Maybe it's because it's raining. My laptop is not working. So let me just making a little adjustment here.
No signal.
No, but I have it on my phone because my phone has its own data plan. So we'll just work from my phone. We were experiencing the powers of the East. Let's get back there. Let's get back into the silence. I'm just going to unplug that. We don't expect it to be turned back on. I'm sorry, you guys can't see people. All right, let's go back. So send blessings to our electronics today. And we know we are all connected in our field of consciousness, in our hearts. So let's just take a deep breath and reconnect with the 11 people that are on Zoom, the 4 people here in our sanctuary. Reconnect through that door in our hearts that opens to the silence and the absolute realm in unity, the realm of truth, the realm of divine light, divine order, divine unfolding, and the realm of absolute ideas, the source of all of our human expression here on the earth plane. And as we reconnect with the spirits of the East, We remember birth and the sun and the spring. We remember the geese. We remember the element of fire. We recall the St. Lawrence River. And we recall the stone people in the river stones that create the shore, create the roughness of the water, the white water, the surfing in the river. You reconnect with the snowdrops and the buds. And we reconnect with that consciousness of willpower, the power to burst forth into new life. And while we reconnect with those powers of the East, those spirits of the East, we're now going to reconnect with the South, sorry. We're going to go from the East to the South, clockwise around the wheel. Hello, spirits of the South, loving, compassionate spirits of the South. We thank them for joining us today as we connect in a new way to develop our own symbology for the spirits of the South. And from this place of quiet meditation, imagine the geography of the south of Montreal, the south of this building. What is there? Could it be the Berkshire Mountains? More of the St. Lawrence River? What minerals come to mind from this place of silence and meditation? What plants come to mind and come to your imagination and your senses for this direction on our wheel of consciousness? What represents the South? What plant? What mineral? What animals represent the South? What color? What sweet color represents the South here in Montreal, at the Unity Center of Montreal? What season? The South is usually the season of the summer. Spring rises in the East, summer in the South. What phase of life is the summer? What comes after spring in our life cycle? And what sense of beingness? What is summer in our lives? And from this place of our heart-to-heart connection here, connecting our Zoom community and our sanctuary and all those who are joining us in spirit, let's take a big, deep breath and send our gratitude out to our entire community and network and bring it right back here to our own hearts and hands as we open our eyes and wiggle our toes and fingers to come back here. Wow. I would love to hear what things might have come to you for the direction of the West. And I have here the piece of paper that I'll write them down on as we go. Usually in many Indigenous traditions, the South direction is summer. It's the peak of life, that growing period of life, almost the frenzy of busyness in life. So I'd like to suggest to you that the phase of life is growth, and the way of being is kind of the giving, right? We're growing, we're giving, we're energizing, we're having relationships, and maybe we're having families, we're building our businesses or building our careers. It's kind of the building, developing phase of our lives that's represented very often by the South. The season is summer. It follows spring. East is the spring, South is the summer. So with those in mind, growth and giving in summer, let's think about the color. Would anyone like to suggest a color that came to them in the meditation? For this?
Is it
Lilac?
yellow?
Lilac.
Yellow?
Yellow, I hear yellow, I hear lilac. Okay. Yellow and lilac. I wish people could hear you better. Hold on.
I like it as a color, but also as a plant.
Oh, as a plant.
Yeah, nice.
Oh yeah, the summer fragrance of the lilacs. Ooh. So let's go with yellow as the color of summer and the south, and lilac as the plant. Beautiful. All right, what animals came to people in their meditation for the south?
Beaver.
Beaver.
Where's that beaver again?
Yeah, there's that. That was Marco. That's his power, one of his power animals. What
Oh.
did you have something that came to you?
A bird, a colibri. How do you say this?
A bird?
Hummingbird. Hummingbird.
Hummingbird. Oh, hummingbird has a lot of spiritual significance in the tradition that I was taught. Hummingbird. Wolf. Yes, wolf is another one. That's the sun bear tradition, has the coyote actually in that book that you gave me, Catherine. Okay, let's move on to mineral. What stone kin? What kin of our stone people come to mind for the south?
Gold. Mm.
Gold, says Maya. Ooh, gold. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Gold. And then what about the geography? So what is south of here? Isn't south of here the United States? And somebody I was talking to yesterday was mentioning the Berkshire Mountains. I don't know if that's the nearest mountain range to the south. Does anyone know? Adirondack Mountains?
Green Mountains.
The Green Mountains, are they to the south?
Green and White Mountains.
Must be.
Green and White Mountains. I'm not familiar with those.
In
Okay.
Vermont.
Yes, Vermont. Ah,
Does anybody know where Kanawaki is in relation to?
Kanawaki?
Yeah, that's a native. Kanawaki. Well, it's kind of near Shadigan, so that would be south.
Is that south? So what is that? Is that a mountain area?
No, it's a reserve.
Oh, like a indigenous reservation?
Yeah, I think it's.
Oh,
No, that's why I'm surprised you didn't mention it. They're Mohawk.
they're Mohawk.
Large Mohawk.
Oh, so there's a Mohawk reservation south of here, and it's called what again?
Ganawagi. It's
Ganawagi.
written with a K, but they pronounce the K as cheese.
Ooh, that's a very beautiful area to recall as powers of the south. I'd suggest that. Ganawagi, the Mohawk Reserve south of here. Ooh, that feels good. Okay. I'd like to suggest that the element be water. Yeah, the element be water. And the life is growth, as I talked about, and the way is giving. So if you think of water and giving, and on Wednesday's class, we'll be using water as a releasing ceremony. You know, you can release things in fire, that's the element of the east. You can release things in water, the element of the south. You can also bury things in the earth, that's coming around to the west, you know, and then there's the north could be wind. All ways to release things, but also to recharge too. So they're both releasing and giving, all in balance, as it said in the daily word today. Harmony and balance. Okay, so here we have the south represented by water, growth, giving, the season of summer, yellow, the hummingbird, the wolf, and the coyote. We can have more than one. The lilac, beautiful. Gold, mineral of gold, and the geography of the Mohawk Ganawagi. I'm sure I'm not saying that correct, but I'll work on that for next time. Okay, well, you don't see any painting here behind me yet, but I do have my painting supplies. When we're done painting our beautiful foyer here, I'll move on to painting our wheel. In the meantime, Maya asked me to bridge unity and shamanism. So I wanted to share with you my perspective. As I shared when I first got here, I grew up with unity principles, unity powers. I didn't go to a unity church. I had no idea there were centers and churches of unity, but I grew up with the teachings of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore and Emily Cady and similar New Thought people like Norman Vincent Peale. There was just, I thought everybody knew all that stuff, right? So, you know, of course people know how to do affirmations. Of course people know that the I am aspect, right? God's not out here. It's handy to consider that once in a while, that perspective, but it's really it's in here. We are an expression of the divine. So I thought I would first, I used this on Wednesday, you know, those Russian dolls where things get smaller and smaller. I wanted to, okay, here's us, this little tiny thing, here's us. And there's pretty general understanding that our bioenergy field is much bigger than us. So here's that, right? Here's our energy field. However, and this is, you know, if you think about Reiki and esoteric healing, other forms of energy healing and bioenergy healing, this is, you know, auras and all that stuff, which I also use, very handy perspectives, handy methodologies. But I think of it even different than this. I think of it as, all right, if this is our little physical form, and if this is really our bioenergy, personality, and mental being, and our emotional being, and our spiritual being, I kind of think of it even bigger. And I don't have a great illustration, but if this was in a field, like the quantum field, right? If this was in an endless infinity field in all directions, just kind of poking out as our physical consciousness, but we're part of a big field of energy. Everything around us that we see in this physical world is that it's not empty space with just objects in it or forms in it. We're multi-dimensional. We are part of an energy field, and our consciousness uses this tool of this little tiny body for a purpose, right? That hopefully we discover on our journey here in life, right? What are we here to offer? What are our gifts? What's our purpose? But the idea that we're multiple dimensions and we're part of a field, you could feel that field when we go into meditation, and we can feel each other. We can feel our connection, and we can train ourselves as human beings to sense through senses. I've learned in energy healing to consciously sense with my hands, different heat, textures, densities of energy. Through shamanism, I've trained my consciousness to move into other forms of access to dimensions through hypnosis. You know, there's different brain wavelengths, right? Theta and delta and all those. There's so many different ways to access the other parts of us, the other levels of consciousness. And that's the purpose of the wheel, really, is to give you more tools to access different levels of consciousness. So why would that be? Do you really need any of that stuff? No, you don't. You don't need any of it, right? You don't need any tools. You don't need even a sanctuary or a church. You don't need any of that. But it's very useful to have it for two reasons. Number one, we're expressions of the divine. So everything we make is an expression of the divine. Right? Everything we make is an expression. And that's part of the fun of being here on this plane is, for me, making paintings, right? Or beautifying the lobby, or beautiful stained glass like we have here in the sanctuary. They're all expressions. Even things that are not beautiful are expressions of the divine. Situations, people, objects, things. The world of form is a playground. There's a playground. But it's not just physical forms, it's emotions, right? Emotions that we create, emotions that we resonate with others.
mental thought patterns and belief systems, you know, the power of our mind. That's a big piece of it. Again, we're creating things with our mind, but where does it all come from? It all comes from within. That's why the seventh direction in the wheel that we've been developing together is our soul, our internal point, because it all comes from within. So we have all these ways to express. And it really is handy, wouldn't you say, to focus our attention on, for example, the lighting of the candles, which is part of our service, to remind ourselves of love across traditions and mysticism, common threads across traditions. Do we need the candles? Well, no. But the truth is the truth, right? Our perception is our perception. And we can honor that in so many different ways. But it feels good to share a candle. It feels good for all of us to be sharing the same object, the same visual. But it's up to us to endow that with meaning and sacredness, right? So how many of you have been to like a sacred healing place, like a sacred well or a sacred a statue or a location in nature where many people come and give offerings, like a big old tree, for example? How many of you have been to sacred places? Susan? All right, everybody's been somewhere, probably more than one, right? And you'll notice when you're there that you can sense in some way that's unique to you. You can sense something different there, sense a shift. Well, where does that come from? It comes from people endowing that place over time with their consciousness, leaving gifts there, leaving offerings. It all builds up the energy because we live in an energy soup. We live in an energy soup. It's not obvious in our daily life, in the world of form, but it's all energy. And we have to change our awareness, our consciousness, to be able to access more information, to access these other realms. So people that channel or work on, have near-death experiences, those are some other ways of accessing these other dimensions. You've heard that when people pass, they don't really pass, they're still with you. You can still feel them. They're just not in physical form. Okay, so where are they? They're in another dimension in our energy soup. And when you tune in, you can sense them. Maybe even have a conversation. And these are skills and channels of communication that humans have the ability to build up as a skill. Some people have easier access to that than others. Some people, like playing the piano, it comes naturally, and some people have to really work at it. And some people might say, the piano's not for me, but singing is. There's different ways of accessing. So if you think of us as a field and these different ways of accessing, the bottom line is, however, that it's all inside of us because it's inside of us. We're not separate. We're not the doll. It's handy to think of it as a thought experiment, but we're the field. We're part of the field. And I think of it like this, and maybe my understanding changes over time as I learn more, as you do too. It's kind of an evolving understanding of how I picture it and how I describe it. But I've had so many interesting experiences that just can't be explained in our physical form, that my spiritual explorations through energy healing, hypnosis, shamanism, and other things, other modalities, have all informed my richer understanding and richer forms of expression here in this physical form. So spiritualism and channeling and near-death experiences and sensing people that have passed, accessing non-ordinary reality, as we call it in shamanism, it's all just extensions of our consciousness, not just as individuals, but as groups, as communities, as whole cultures, right? It's layer upon layer of richness. And what fun is that, right? This is so fun. Like, we're in such a rich play box that we would not, nor a sandbox that we're not necessarily taught that we have access to, or it's a special skill to have access to, or only through gurus can we access it, or only through special people can it be accessed. And unity tells us, no, we're the center right here. We're the center. We have access to the truth. We are an expression of the divine. We're part of the whole. We're not separate. And anything that we're expressing is a divine expression. And hopefully that's as beautiful as we can possibly make it, right? It's as every moment, every feeling, every thought can be a prayer, can be as beautiful as we can possibly make it. That's it. That's one of my goals. That was one of my ministerial vows, is to be love. Sounds easy, sounds short, sounds cute, but that's really not easy to do. But that's my personal quest, and I know you all have yours. You all have yours as we learn and evolve. But this is the bridge. I'm trying to bridge our physical form and our unity understanding with all these other things. They're all just tools, modalities, forms of expression, ways of being here in the sandbox. That's how I think of it. And I look forward to Wednesday, deepening this and showing people how to actually journey. So come back and we'll deepen and we'll go further. But that's my main message for today. And I hope Maya feels good about that, because she asked me to bridge it, and I hope I did a good job. All right, she's clapping. Yay, thank you. All right, thank you, everybody. All right, it is now time for our offering and blessing. And at the back of the room, we have our bowl. I invite you to leave your offerings, your tithes, or your love offerings there. We do have a special project that you'd love to welcome to contribute to, which is the foyer painting, because that'll be happening on Monday and on Wednesday. I can't wait for all of you to come to the sanctuary and see this after Wednesday. So next Sunday, come in person. It's going to be bright and beautiful. So hold those offerings to your heart in symbolism or in real physical form. And let's say together our blessing for our offerings. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I joyously give, and all that I joyously receive. We are grateful. We are grateful.